Most men walk blind, reacting to the emotional whims of women, always one step behind, wondering why they lose respect, why they get manipulated, why their relationships crumble. They don't see the silent signals, the hidden agendas, the emotional chess game being played right under their noses. You think you're having a conversation. They're already testing your boundaries, assessing your weaknesses. This isn't about being nice or understanding. It's about survival in the wild, about mastering the mental game where intent often speaks louder than words. What if I told you there's a blueprint, a masculine strategy derived from the timeless wisdom of Machiavelli himself that allows you to read people, truly read them before they even utter a single lie? A way to gain the ultimate emotional control, to see through the masks, to identify manipulation before it costs you your power, your dignity, your very sense of a high-value man. If you're tired of being played, tired of feeling disrespected, then pay close attention. This isn't for the faint of heart. This is about real power, real leverage, and ensuring you're never caught off guard again. The rules of engagement are about to change. The rules of engagement are about to change. Most men get lost in the performance, missing true character, indicators, becoming susceptible to manipulation. Real power lies in observation. Forget what they say. Watch how they treat those who offer no benefit or threat, the invisibles, the waiter, the cleaner, the delivery driver. This is the ultimate litmus test, a core masculine strategy for discerning genuine character. Does their niceness extend universally, or is it a calculated act for the influential? A high-value man shows respect universally. How they interact with these invisible individuals reveals their unvarnished truth, exposing their arrogance or their true emotional control. This potent mental game offers an unparalleled advantage. You see a person's true nature, identify seeds of disrespect or potential manipulation before they blossom. It's a principle Machiavelli himself would endorse, understanding human nature in its rawest form. When they believe no one important is watching, their true colors emerge, their cultivated persona cracks. This isn't just about spotting red flags. It's about gaining ultimate emotional control by seeing the whole board. But what about the signals they send when actively trying to impress you? This is where the game shifts from observation to subtle provocation. When someone is actively performing for you, trying to secure your respect or influence your perception, their words are a crafted facade. Your challenge isn't to counter their narrative, but to dismantle it without uttering a single word. This is the art of strategic silence. Imagine sitting across from someone attempting to impress, their verbal barrage designed to overwhelm, to control the narrative. Instead of engaging, you lean back. You hold their gaze, unwavering, but say nothing. The silence becomes a void. It's a calculated psychological maneuver. Humans are uncomfortable with prolonged silence, especially when seeking validation. They will fill that void, and in their desperate attempt to re-establish control, to avoid the discomfort, they will reveal anxieties, hidden desires, past insecurities, truths they would never volunteer under normal circumstances. This isn't rudeness. It's a potent masculine strategy, a masterclass in emotional control. You're not just listening, you're drawing out the hidden cards. The pressure of your unspoken expectation forces their true hand. This deepens your understanding of their internal landscape, giving you unparalleled power. You expose their raw mental game, identifying vulnerabilities or manipulative tendencies. A high-value man knows that true respect is earned by discerning reality, not by being swayed by performance. This subtle chess move, endorsed by principles Machiavelli himself understood, allows you to see past the polished veneer, revealing the underlying fears or aspirations that drive their every action. You gain insight into their true motivations, their capacity for manipulation, and their genuine character. But what happens when they realize their usual tactics aren't working? That's precisely when you initiate the next phase of this profound masculine strategy, the strategic withdrawal of your perceived benefit. This isn't about outright rejection, but a subtle recalibration of the exchange. You cease to offer the attention, the validation, the easy access, or even the convenience they've grown accustomed to. Observe their immediate response. The entitled will often escalate their attempts, employing more aggressive forms of emotional manipulation, perhaps even resorting to guilt-tripping or manufactured crises, all designed to pull you back into their orbit, to regain their lost power. This is the moment their true dependency, their lack of genuine respect for you as an individual, is laid bare. A high-value man understands that this emotional chess reveals the true nature of their mental game. Others, purely transactional in their approach, will simply recede. Their investment was never in you, but in what they could extract. This Machiavellian lens illuminates their self-serving intent. Your consistent emotional control during this withdrawal phase broadcasts an unshakable inner resolve. You are not a resource to be exploited. This critical test allows you to discern who genuinely values the connection and who is merely a parasitic opportunist. It's a brutal yet essential lesson in social dynamics, revealing the true drivers behind people's actions. But once you've identified these patterns, how do you then leverage this newfound clarity? This is where your masculine strategy shifts from passive observation to active engagement, a deliberate reframing of the relationship dynamic. You now possess a tactical blueprint of their mental game, understanding their triggers and their vulnerabilities, not to exploit them in a petty sense, but to reinforce your own position of power. A high-value man doesn't just recognize manipulation, he deactivates it. This Machiavellian understanding, applied not to conquest but to self-preservation, gives you the edge. With this insight, you can strategically re-engage but on your terms. Your emotional control becomes your shield and your sword. You assert boundaries with unwavering resolve, demanding genuine respect rather than mere compliance born of transactional convenience. This is about conditioning their behavior, teaching them through your actions that the old scripts no longer work. Their previously rehearsed routines, once so effective at extracting what they wanted, now hit a wall of impenetrable self-possession. It's a psychological jujitsu, using their own momentum to redirect them. You've seen the strings, now you decide if you cut them, or if you gently guide their dance to a more harmonious rhythm. But what happens when the mask they've worn for so long is so deeply ingrained, they barely remember their true face? This is precisely where the subtle art of denying a small favor becomes a potent instrument of truth. It's not about petty vindictiveness, it's a strategic probe, a low-stakes test in your ongoing psychological warfare. When you, a high-value man, intentionally withhold something minor, a small request, a readily available convenience, you create a vacuum. Their immediate reaction to this unexpected denial is incredibly revealing. Do they pivot, showing genuine understanding and respect for your boundaries? Or does the mask begin to slip, revealing frustration, entitlement, or even subtle manipulation, designed to re-establish their perceived control? This act of deliberate refusal is a masterstroke of masculine strategy. It gauges their emotional control, their true level of respect for your autonomy, and whether their previous compliance was genuine or merely a means to an end. This is a crucial data point in your mental game, an insight into their deepest programming. A Machiavellian perspective here isn't about cruelty, but clear-eyed assessment of human behavior under pressure. This power move forces them to show their hand, revealing if their loyalty is conditional or truly earned. And once you've seen this unfiltered reaction, once you've witnessed the raw truth of their response to a minor inconvenience, the path forward becomes undeniable. You've exposed the underlying mechanics of their demand. But what if their response isn't just about a minor frustration, but reveals a deeper, more insidious pattern of entitlement? You've exposed the underlying mechanics of their demand. But what if their response isn't just about a minor frustration, but reveals a deeper, more insidious pattern of entitlement? This isn't merely about a single instance of inconvenience. It's a diagnostic probe into their core belief system. When you, as a high-value man, encounter this ingrained entitlement, you're not just observing a reaction, you're witnessing the blueprint for future manipulation. Their lack of emotional control in the face of a minor denial exposes a profound weakness in their internal architecture. It's a direct challenge to your power, a subtle aggression veiled as frustration. This is where your mental game elevates. A Machiavellian perspective dictates that you don't just react, you analyze. Does their perceived lack of respect stem from a genuine misunderstanding or a deliberate attempt to test your boundaries, to see how far they can push? This subtle form of psychological warfare reveals whether their compliance was a calculated, masculine strategy or a genuine alignment with your presence. The way they managed their internal frustration, or failed to, is a critical data point in assessing their true character and their capacity for genuine respect. Their words might tell one story, but their attention, that's where the true narrative unfolds. To truly ascertain their intent, you must move beyond passive observation, escalating your mental game. This is where a more advanced masculine strategy comes into play. The calculated invention of a controlled vulnerability. You engineer a scenario where you appear to have a minor flaw, a chink in your armor, not a genuine weakness, but a meticulously crafted illusion. Observe how they react. Does their predatory instinct surge forward, seeking to exploit this perceived opening? Do they view it as an opportunity for manipulation, a chance to gain leverage and assert their own sense of power? This Machiavellian chess move is a potent diagnostic tool for the high-value man. It reveals whether their professed respect is conditional, based solely on your strengths, or if it extends to a deeper level of human understanding. Their capacity for emotional control, or lack thereof, when faced with your perceived vulnerability, is a definitive tell. Are they truly aligned, or merely biding their time, waiting for an opening to diminish your power? The way they navigate this delicate dance of perceived exposure That's only one layer of the true test. This isn't just about passive observation. It's an active exercise in psychological warfare, a deliberate recalibration of the power dynamic. By introducing a strategic delay after showcasing that controlled vulnerability, you intensify the mental game. You force them to contend with the void, the uncertainty, the lack of immediate gratification. Their true capacity for emotional control is ruthlessly exposed. A high-value man understands that patience is a weapon, and an impatient response reveals a fundamental lack of respect for your time, your autonomy, and ultimately, your inherent worth. Do they resort to aggressive follow-ups, veiled threats, or subtle manipulation to force your hand? Does their inner Machiavelli surface, eager to exploit the perceived weakness and seize control? This deliberate masculine strategy isn't about pettiness, it's about creating a crucible. It forces them to either earn your engagement through genuine respect and disciplined waiting, or expose their predatory nature. The individual who truly values you will understand that your time, like your perceived vulnerability, is a resource to be respected, not rushed or exploited. Those who fail this test reveal their true agenda, their desire for control, any facade of genuine interest. It's a profound insight into their willingness to engage in ethical, emotional chess, or whether they're merely looking for an angle to diminish your power. But what happens when you introduce an element that directly challenges their established expectations? When you deliberately introduce a disruptive element, an unexpected variable that doesn't fit their prescripted interactions, you force them off their well-worn path of imitation. Observe closely. Do they maintain the cool, calculated demeanor they've clearly copied from some perceived ideal of power, or does their borrowed emotional control shatter? This isn't just a test, it's a diagnostic tool. The high-value man understands that true respect is earned, not mimicked. Are they emulating a persona designed to project authority or elicit manipulation, hoping to secure power through borrowed gravitas? When their expected responses are invalidated, do they pivot with genuine agility, or do they revert to a petulant, unoriginal reaction? This reveals the true object of their ambition. Is it genuine influence, or merely the superficial trappings of power they believe others respond to? The mental game intensifies here, as you watch their chosen masculine strategy crumble, exposing the true nature of their desire for respect. It's in these moments of disequilibrium that their inner Machiavelli shows his hand, not through calculated cunning, but often through a desperate, unrefined attempt at control or manipulation. You're peeling back the layers of their adopted persona to see what truly drives them. This is where the true test of their internal fortitude begins. You introduce a subtle disruptor, a humble announcement of a minor win. Not a boast, mind you, but a quiet acknowledgement of progress. The true high-value man would offer genuine, unvarnished congratulations, recognizing success without feeling diminished. But watch the others. Observe the micro-expressions, the flicker of a forced smile, the brief narrowing of the eyes, the subtle shift in posture. These aren't random tells. They are involuntary leaks from a compromised emotional control system. Their inherent insecurity, their latent envy, begins to manifest. The mental game is in full swing as you present them with a scenario where their copied masculine strategy falters. Do they attempt to subtly diminish your achievement with a backhanded compliment, or perhaps an immediate pivot to their own, supposedly grander, accomplishments? This is a desperate form of manipulation, an attempt to reassert a perceived power imbalance they suddenly feel threatened by. Their inability to simply acknowledge your victory without an immediate counter or a minimization tactic reveals a deep lack of genuine respect. It's in these moments that the ghost of Machiavelli whispers not cunning advice, but rather exposes a raw, unrefined desire to control the narrative to ensure no one outshines them. However briefly, they see your small win not as a shared positive, but as a direct challenge to their precarious standing. This isn't about your success, it's about their inability to tolerate it, and the next step is to understand what that intolerance reveals about their true motives. Their inability to tolerate your rise, even a small one, is a psychological tell, a crack in their emotional control. It's a visceral repulsion for anything threatening their fragile power. This is the real mental game. You've seen their copied masculine strategy falter. Now go deeper. Instead of reacting to their subtle manipulation, pivot. Ask them what they hate with passion, what truly ignites their disdain. Observe the intensity in their voice. This isn't casual talk, it's psychological excavation. A high-value man understands that deep hatreds are not random. They are often projections of unacknowledged fears, unfulfilled desires, or the very flaws they suppress. Remember Machiavelli's insight: understanding human nature often comes more clearly from their enmities. The object of their hatred reveals the shadow aspects of their identity, the weaknesses they fear most, or the qualities in others that challenge their control. Their passionate repulsions are confessions of their inner landscape, maps to their deepest insecurities and their power dynamics. This insight allows you to predict their moves in this intricate game of influence. It reveals their true respect. This strategic probe, asking what they hate, is a critical tool for their character's underbelly. It's a key piece of the puzzle, but knowing what they hate is only the first layer. Now, ask yourself, have you ever been under subtle manipulation and didn't even realize it? Tell me your story in the comments below. If you're serious about mastering the mental game, gaining true emotional control, and understanding the power dynamics that shape your world, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. It's the only way you'll continue to unlock the masculine strategy most men never discover, building the respect that defines a high-value man. Next, dive deeper into how Machiavelli's timeless wisdom applies to these intricate social plays. Click here for the next crucial lesson. Until then, stay sharp.